All right. Well, thank you for keeping it tuned to Smooth 98.1, your love music, love live station on a terrific Tuesday morning. You listen to the Smooth Breakfast. Ayokunmi here, ready to take you into a world of conversation on Lagos Talks. That is how we spend the time at this time during the week, having great conversations about anything and, of course, everything as well, bringing major issues to the fore and learning from each other. That is something I'm very big on, and I'm glad to have you join us as always. So, just to clue you into the ways you can join us on the conversation. Very easy, straightforward. You have options. WhatsApp, you can send a message to us on 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 0981. For today's session, you can only send messages on WhatsApp. You can give us a call, though, on the studio line. That is 0201 4489 0201 4489 We're also on YouTube. We're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. You can drop a comment there. Definitely we'll be taking it as we get along on the show. Talking about the show, I mean, I've mentioned this at different points, but I need to talk about this again. It is all about International Men's Day. That's what we are centering our conversation around, and really what today is all about. This year's theme is positive male role models. And I couldn't think of a better way to mark this occasion than by talking about mentorship and how positive male figures are shaping the next generation. You know, mentorship is such a powerful concept. It's about guidance, it's about support and connection as well. And it's something our society tends to overlook when we talk about creating change. So today we'll be exploring why mentorship matters, what it looks like in action, and the profound impacts that it has on communities. And joining me to unpack this is a man who he wears many hats. I've had him on the show a number of times. We've had great conversations as well. Always a pleasure to have him back. He's a mentor, he's an advocate, and someone who's definitely walking the talk. Welcome, Othman Abdulrasheed, to the show. Good morning.
Morning. Thank you very much for inviting me once again. Always a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you on the show to have these very, very interesting conversations. And today is definitely along those lines. Mentorship and of course the community impact. We tend to gloss over how key mentorship can actually be. Mentorship, when done right, I need to add that caveat, when
Yeah.
done right, it is very, very key because anyone can say, oh, I'm mentoring that person, but are you really mentoring that person or sending that person down the path of doom and all that? Anyways, let's start with the basics here. Um, why the role of male mentors is so crucial in today's society. I mean, if you think about it, mentors are like mirrors for potential for boys and for young men as well. Seeing someone who has walked a certain path, they aspire to can be very transformative. And it just isn't for career goals. It's about character, it's about values and life decisions as well. In fact, studies have shown that mentorship reduces risky behaviors in youth, from crime to substance abuse, and the benefits aren't one-sided. Mentors often report a deep sense of purpose and fulfillment as well, in a healthy give and take relationship. Now, in your experience, why do you think having male role models is so vital for boys who are growing up in environments where positive examples might actually be scarce? I mean, looking at Nigeria, I mean, to a degree right now, we can bring that into question.
Yeah. So I think one of why it's important is because mentors provide some sort of like a blueprint, right? So and especially where, like you said, there's no positivity around. So sometimes you might be inundated with all the news, doom and gloom. So let's even
Right.
I'll look at it from different perspectives. Let's first look at it from an economic perspective. When you're growing up, you're thinking, oh my God, like, hey, there's no job there's unemployment, no job, payment is low, blah blah blah, all those things. If you have a mentor that has walked that path, right, they can help you show that blueprint. And I'll give you a personal story that happened to me when I got into when I did my NYC. I was lucky to do my NYC in Owando, their lubricant blending plant in Kaduna. And I'll tell you how mentorship, it didn't affect me, but it affected the people after me. Now, before me, anybody that did NYSC at that lubricant plant didn't get retained. As soon as they finish the NYSC,
Huh.
they are gone,
Every
right?
single person.
Yeah, most times. In fact, At a point in time, they didn't even try retaining them because so many issues. When I got in there, somehow I was inspired to do three major things. One, I needed to make sure that they didn't look at me like a copper because how people perceive you is important. So
Mm.
every day when I go to work with suit, tie, engineers and engineer wear jeans, talking, looking good. Anytime I'm going for CDS, my NYC uniform was in my bag. I'll go out,
Okay.
then change, then go for CDS. I know most times NYC, coppers, when they go for CDS, they don't come back. When I go for CDS, I make sure I come back. That's the second thing I did. Right. And then third was that I never declined work. Any work they give me, I'll accept it.
You would do
I
it.
know the reward for good work is more work. Now,
Right.
interestingly, there were two coppers that met me while I served. Both of them got retained
Oh, wow.
because I shared with them the blueprint. I told them, guys, this is the secret. Now, when I left, I went on to have an illustrious career there over 8 years. I spent in Rwanda right before I left. And even the guys after me, in fact, one of them is still there and he's even the head of one of the biggest branches, in there. But when I left the NYC, right, the people that came after those guys that didn't meet me didn't get retained.
Hmm.
So somehow those guys, yes, I mentored them, but somehow they weren't able to transfer that mentorship because they were not intentional. So economically, it gives you a blueprint of what is possible, the possibility. Now, in terms of morally and all that, it shows you that mentorship, having mentors that eschew the right values, makes you realize that look, you can be successful without compromising your values,
Hmm.
without having to do anything shady on everything, right? And then also, one of the things I always talk about is also family wise as well. Having mentors, having good mentors, good role models, especially for men, will help men realize that sometimes what society says is correct in terms of how you treat your family might not be correct.
Right. Right.
So I'll
Right.
give you an example where men typically feel like, I'm the man of the house, man. I can't even do anything when I'm not even, if I'm taking care of my children, it's help. They don't see it as, look, I'm a parent and it's also part of my duty to also support. But if you have a male, a male role model that eschews those values, you will see that, oh, you grow up seeing that, oh, okay, it's even a normal thing. There's nothing wrong in a
Right.
guy,
Right.
providing for his family. There's nothing wrong in a guy spending time with his family. There's nothing wrong in a guy playing with his children. A lot of times when I do these things, I play with my kids, I post it on my WhatsApp status. I see a lot of people say, bro, you don't know how much these things that you post help me because I'm seeing a different side of parenting. And this is what I want to. When I have my kids, I do this. I see people tell me that, oh, I have kids. I love how you spend time with them. But I don't know. It seems like I'm overwhelmed. How are you able to do it? And I tell them, listen, it's all about quantity and not quality. It's all about quality, not
Quality,
quantity.
not quantity. Right.
If
Right.
you can spend 15 good minutes and you can spare that 30 minutes, it doesn't have to be like a whole day. So I feel like when I see those things help to eschew those things. So you see, economically, seeing someone that is doing what you like to do and successful at it makes you have hope that, yes, so I'll give you an example. My dream car is a Lexus LX570, right? Now, I know every single business consultant that owns an LX570. So it means that seeing them own it, I know that it's possible as a business consultant, as an entrepreneur to own it. So it gives me that focus to say, okay, keep grinding, keep doing what you're doing, and then that part is yours as well.
Hmm. Interesting thoughts. I mean, that actually is a very nice car. I mean, for those who, at least to a degree, know what cars are about, you have very good
Yes, sir.
taste. I will definitely say that. Now, let's bring this to some real world examples here. I mean, looking across Nigeria, we've seen men stepping into mentorship roles to address issues like education, skill development as well, even mental health. These things are happening. For instance, initiatives like academies often double as mentorship programs.
Yes.
Coaches don't just teach sports, they instill discipline, teamwork, resilience. Coach Carter comes to mind very, very
Yeah.
easily when I think about that. There's also a rise in mentorship for young entrepreneurs where seasoned professionals, they guide startups, helping them avoid those costly mistakes, those
Oh,
early pitfalls and all that. It's these connections that can break cycles of poverty and create that generational change that is very much needed. Now, from where you are sitting and your experiences, can you share any stories where a mentor made a tangible difference in someone's life? Or maybe you were the mentor who made that tangible difference. I know you told the story, but I'm pretty sure that you have some other great experiences that you can
plenty,
share. Of
plenty.
course.
So I'll give you an example. So I worked in oil and gas, right, for over a decade. And towards the end of my career there, I had this existential angst. Like I kept thinking, is this all my life is going to be about? And I wanted to go into another direction, which is coaching, business consulting, and all that. But I was scared, right? I was wondering, I was like, hey, first of all, I'm already used to the good life. I mean, oil and gas now. Alhamdulillah, like they take care of us well. And
Mm,
I'm like, how can I leave this career that I'm on and then go and start in this one that I'm not even sure whether I'm even going to make money? But I had a mentor, Coach Sam Obafemi, and I used to like have sessions with him consistently, every day. Sometimes I'll just pay for a session, sit down with him, and he'll like, how far? I'll like, hmm. He'll just say, hmm. He'll say, I've told you. Look, I've been doing this thing for over 10 years. I'm still okay. So think about it that look, even if you give yourself that just 10 years, like just give yourself 10 years and say, okay, in the next 10 years, I know that I'll be okay. Is that something that you would like to do? And so I took the plunge and I can tell you that it's been amazing. Right. So that's one mentor. Second mentor that I've had that has really changed the game for me was when I started business coaching, business consulting, I met a guy called Ezekiel Solesi. Amazing guy, limb simple. He's based in Lagos. And I attended a class of his, and that class of his simply said that he can teach you as a knowledge entrepreneur how to generate minimum of ₦1 million monthly. And he gave us the blueprint, gave us everything. But that's teaching. You see, mentorship is a different conversation. Now, when
mm,
I went ahead and I was trying to implement my own workshops and all that, I'd have conversations with him. I'd share my fears with him. He'll share that, look, I have the same fears. This is what I did to overcome them. I'd ask him, okay, how are you able to navigate this? Because I was implementing, he was happy to give me his time. It's the same thing with Coach Sam. The only reason why they would, once I, pick up my phone and call them, they would answer me is because whenever we discuss, they will see the implementation.
okay.
Right? So one of the pitfalls that mentees have is that they do this, they just want vibes. Sir, can you be my mentor? Then I will discuss, we discuss. You disappear. Guy, how far? Where are you? Oh, you start giving me excuses. Obviously, next time you come, I'm not going to waste my time. Because
Right.
you had said it when you were doing the introduction that mentors feel a deep sense of purpose when they see their mentees doing great things. So a mentor will only spend time with a mentee that is producing results. So, because I was able to produce these results, these mentors were able to, show me the way. Same thing with the mentees that I've mentored as well, right? It's only people, I'll give you another personal example. And this one is even with my sibling, my brother. He was doing his IT in Abuja in my house, right? So where he was working, I think he was working Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. So he didn't have to go to work every day. And sometimes you just sit down, how, just chilling. And I told him, okay, instead
Mm-hmm.
of you just chilling, don't you think you should learn a skill? He was like, what skill? I was like, I mean, you're good with photography, like you take pictures well, you do videos well, but don't you think you should hone it? So I shared with him a course that I had bought for myself, and I shared the access with him. And I told him, okay, look, go and watch these videos, right? And then practice. So he watched the videos, he practiced. I did it for more or less like a little bit of my selfish interest because I wanted him to be able to create videos for me for my travel for my travel influencer
I
blogging
see. I
lifestyle.
see.
So when he was doing that, he started to do that, and the videos were really nice. Now, because I have a huge amount of followers that are entrepreneurs that struggle with content creation, part of what I did was when they asked me, coach, your videos are really nice. I'm like, oh, is this guy that did it? And he's around, he'll do it for you, you know, affordably. The first gig he ever got was a pharmacy. A pharmacy needed 10 videos. And I asked him, how much would you do 10 videos? And I was like, oh, he'll do it for 50K. I said, okay, no problem. Let's go for the meeting. We went for the meeting. I told them, yeah, we can handle it. And they said, how much? I said 150K. They said, okay. They paid. When they paid 150K, I gave him his 50K. I told him, rule number one, you always get from life what you ask.
Hmm.
And he went ahead and he did the videos. In the little time that he spent in Abuja before he went to school, we are having a conversation, and he said he had raised almost a million naira, about 750K from doing videos.
Oh, wow.
Now, he could have done his IT sitting down and doing nothing like every other student. But because he had that close proximity with me, I was able to change. And that's what mentorship does. Mentorship
Mm,
changes your perspective because these are people that have lived the life and they have a helicopter view. So they're able to see where things fit and where things can be plugged in to help you grow. So yeah, these are
mm.
just a few stories of how mentorship has helped.
Very interesting stories. One thing I will take is that at the end of the day, no matter how much a mentor reaches out, and you alluded to it as well, if the mentee is not giving back the
Doing the
same
work.
energy, I mean, you can take the horse to the river, but will they drink
You can
water? Another story entirely. Let's take a very, very quick break right now. When we come back in, we will continue the conversation right here on Lagos Talks this morning, and we'll be looking at breaking some barriers and, of course, stigmas around male vulnerability. Very important as we get along this morning. Don't go anywhere. Now, wow. So you just give your brother 50K. I just held 100K.
before. Yes, yeah.
Uh,
Well, how will you learn?
uh,
How will you learn?
no, now.
Bro, come and join me. I'm having breakfast.
When I shop life now. Carry on, carry on. That's
With
how
bread.
that's
You will
how
not chop English breakfast.
English breakfast. At which time? I don't do studio. 5 o'clock. I don't do studio. Which time I want you to
I
chop,
know.
chop
Studio
breakfast?
don't do buffet for you now.
I beg, I beg, I beg. Don't be whining me. Oh, I want to lie down. Why don't you open the door? Is it cold? It's not cold now. Why don't you open the door? Close the door now. You need to get used to the cold. Blend. Blend.
If not, we'll not take her to Ukraine
I mean,
or Russia.
maybe, why not Canada? Why not Finland or Norway? Why is it when they are fighting, when there's conflicts? They want to not career.
I said that on purpose.
Well, anyway, Sha, I mean, people that if they say, I'll give you $2,000 to go to Ukraine, here we go.
Yes, now.
I was like, here we go. I mean, when that conflict started, people were being offered money to come and fight in the war.
Yeah. And people
Uh,
went.
who went? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have premium money to go and fight war, to carry gun and go and fight war. There is no sure that you
When I
come back.
was, yeah. So sometimes when you see those kind of things, they're doing it for their family.
That is deep. That is very deep. Woo! Welcome back to Lagos Talks on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life on a terrific Tuesday morning. Ayokunmi here. It's an International Men's Day special. We're taking a look at mentorship and, of course, community impact, exploring how positive role models shape the next generation. My guest is Othman Abdulrasheed. He's a business leadership coach. He's a behavioral analysis consultant as well, man of many parts, wears many hats, and all of that. And he's with us this morning to talk about this. He's in a great position to give us a lot of perspective on this. And we'd love to get your thoughts as well. All the great men out there, even the ladies who know great men, who are raising great men as well. You should be a part of this conversation. Join us on WhatsApp on 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 0981. You can also join the live stream on YouTube. We're streaming at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right, Othman, let's get back into this conversation. Now, before that, breather, I mentioned that we're going to talk about breaking barriers and, of course, the stigmas that are around male vulnerability. There's a reason for that, and it's something to think about. It's something to think about. Mentorship isn't just about teaching. It's about
Yeah,
showing up
yeah.
authentically. Very, very key. And for many men, this means breaking through that stigma of vulnerability, that stigma that has surrounded us, that surrounds it, especially here in this part of the world. Now, for boys and young men, seeing a mentor admit mistakes, talk about emotions, or even share struggles can be empowering for them. It teaches them that being strong doesn't mean you need to be stoic 24/7. No, it means being real. That is just the truth about it, being absolutely real. Now, why do you think some men hesitate to take on mentorship roles? Is it, the fear of vulnerability, or is there something else? Because if you're afraid to be real, can you actually mentor a person successfully?
So I think one of the reasons why people do that is also it's just one is from upbringing. So we're brought up to think that men like we're supposed to be infallible. And that's why you see when people in top positions, either maybe religious leaders or people in top positions that are held in high esteem,
Mm,
show their fallibility, there's a lot of backlash. Not realizing that look, these people are human beings, right? So just because you you've attained a certain position, and also so that's one, right? That upbringing of making people feel like they're infallible. Two is the pedestal that the people that are under you put you on. So
right.
just because you're mentoring people like they now put you on a pedestal that you did not put yourself. So those are two reasons why most times people just say, look, I don't even want to. Let me just live my life gingerly. I have my struggles. And the truth is that nobody knows your struggles more than you. You know what you're fighting with. You know the demons you're struggling with, right? And so you
Mm,
don't want to put yourself in a position whereby there's public scrutiny on you so that people don't even see what you're doing. And so that's one of the reasons. But what I've learned is that vulnerability is one of the best ways to connect with people. And a lot of men, especially in Nigeria, were taught not to be vulnerable, to be stoic,
right.
don't cry,
Right.
don't show
Mm,
emotion, you know,
be be tough.
don't be weak, be tough, right? But it's okay. I used to be like that as well. I mean, I went to military school. So stoicism was drilled inside us. But I read a book by Brené Brown called Daring Greatly. And in that book, she really exposed the importance of vulnerability and how, even as a parent, being vulnerable with your children can help them regulate their own emotions. Because that's one of the ways you can break the cycle, right? Instead of saying, look,
Right.
don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. You too, you can come back and say, man, you tell your kids, man, I had a tough day at work today. Then they say, oh, daddy, so what did you do? Oh, I did this, I did this, I did this. And that's how I was able to overcome it. So they understand that tough times happen. But a lot of men, what we do is that we just audacious, we lock up. So the people, our family members don't even know that we're struggling. So there's nobody to even support. And that's why men's mental health is a serious, there's a serious crisis because men don't want to share. Also, they're afraid that if they share, right, it can be used against them.
Mm, mm,
That's
mm.
another thing, right? So if anybody, and this is if you want people to be more vulnerable with you, if they share their vulnerability, don't use it against them. Don't use it in another time against them. So that's one of the reasons why people don't like to take on mentorship roles because they don't even want. See, they are still struggling with their own. Don't come and add your own problem to my own. You understand? I think that's
Yeah,
one
I
of the
get
things.
that.
Yeah.
I get that. But okay, all that being said, all that being said, and we've unpacked now. I mean, how does one personally then navigate that sort of situation? How do you strike that balance between being relatable but still being that authority figure that you're supposed to be?
I think it's by showing the work, right? Show workings. You know how in maths they used to tell us show working.
Mm,
The way that you can be an authority figure is when you show your workings, you show your downside, you show your good side, you show the things you're doing, you show how you're excelling. That already makes you an authority figure. You share it. Now, how do you now maintain relatability? It's by being humble, being open, understand that look, these people are trying to learn from you. Don't have pride. don't carry shoulder, right? I've had situations a lot of times where even yesterday it happened to me. I was walking on the road in my estate. I was going on a walk, and somebody just said, "Oh my God, hi." And I'm like, hi. And I smiled. I was like, hi, how are you? Have a nice day, And I went on my day. Now that's I was deep in my thoughts, but I stopped. I greeted the person, I answered the person, and I continued. Right? Sometimes people have this facade where, yeah, I'm a big boy. Nobody should come near me. That kind of thing. So I think that's how you maintain that balance by showing your working, showing the amazing things you're doing great things, but also spending time and trying to be relatable. I'll give you an example. I went to speak at an event for teenagers, right? It was
Right.
a holiday, it was a holiday program. Now, clearly, those
Okay.
teenagers did not want to be there for no reason. They didn't want to be there. So, but there were these two boys at the back. They sat down wearing black hoodies and they had put their hoodie on their head. And I asked them, guys, can you just take it off? And they, grudgingly did it. When I started talking, right, I noticed that I hadn't connected with them. So I kept exploring different things. And I know when I talk to teenagers, there are two things that connect. One, anime, especially boys. Once you start talking about anime, Naruto, Bleach, all these things, you connect to them because that's their reality, right?
Mm.
And then two, video games. You know, is FC24, Call of Duty, all those things. So while I was having those conversations and I was watching them to see their reaction, I noticed that they still didn't budge. They were like, ugh, whatever. Somehow, I was inspired. I was given an example of something. I can't remember what I was given an example of, but then I used a video game to give that example. And the name of the video game is Ghost of Tsushima. It's a samurai game on PlayStation. And as soon as I said it, that boy's eye lit up. But he was
Oh,
still
wow.
cautious. He was like, okay, maybe this guy just guessed the game. He was like, do I play it? I was like, do I play it? I started naming all the characters, named how I beat the first boss. And this boy went from not wanting to engage to even coming to the front of the class and giving a speech.
That was how you unlocked him.
That's how I unlocked him by connecting. So mentors must understand that for you to have true impact, you must connect. And you can't connect on your terms. That's one of the issues that we have with mentors, right? Because some of them are old school, right? And so they feel, look, if I want to connect you, you need to step into my world. But no, you need to connect within their own world. That's the best way to have those connections, right? So sometimes you have to step out of your own world and step into their own world,
Mm.
right? So I think that if we have more people embracing their inner child, embracing, that true connection, trying to explore. When you look at this, there's a lot of bashing on Gen Zs, right? Where Gen Zs are lazy, Gen Zs are this, Gen Zs are this. Sometimes don't sit down and look at it that way. Get into their own world and understand. These are people that everything is easy. Think about it.
True.
Before growing up, if you want to watch cartoon, we had to wait till 4 o'clock. We had to see those lines,
Right, right.
right?
The
Now,
colorful lines on the TV.
yeah,
Classic stuff.
now everything is on demand. Everything
20,
is on the go.
24/7.
24/7
Touch of a
available.
button.
Touch of a button. If you grow up and that's your reality, you're not going to want stress. Anything that will stress you, you don't even want it. And that's the reality of the world we live in. Everything you want, you can get it at the touch of a button. I mean, we were talking earlier, when I went to Cairo, I booked Airbnb on my phone before I traveled, got in there from the airport. You can do Uber, Bolt. Wherever you're going, you do Bolt, right? If you need to order anything, they have an app where you can order and they'll bring it to your house. You don't even need to learn the language. Just speaking to Google Translate, it will say it back in their language. That's the reality of the world we live in now. So sometimes if you want to, mentor these younger people, step out of your old school, mentality and step in and look at the world from their own perspective.
To
So I think that
understand
that's how
things from
to understand things, yeah.
understand things from another angle,
Another
and
perspective.
through their eyes, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, interesting thoughts, man. We need to take another break right now. having so much fun this morning on the discussion. When we come back in, though, we'll look at mentorship as a tool for community transformation because it's not just individuals who actually would benefit, entire communities definitely would. Keep it tuned to Lagos Talks. This is Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Don't go anywhere. Life is so much easier right now.
I swear, like it's crazy.
I mean, those days, if you had any queries, you had any assignments,
You can't let
it's a book or
you have to go
encyclopedia.
library.
No.
I'll tell you one thing. I hated talking. I talk a lot, but I always used to fight myself. Why? Why are you talking? Because we can be watching something in the house, and I'll just say, mommy, what's this? Because I was very inquisitive. She was like, yeah, go and get the encyclopedia. I'll now stand up, go get the encyclopedia, come back, search for it. Then and I have to now tell her the meaning. Then I'll probably write an essay around it. And I tell myself, why do you ask questions? The next day, I'll still ask questions. But guess what? That has helped me to be very research focused. Now it baffles me when people ask me, how can I do this thing? Guy, you don't need to ask anybody. Google will tell you. People don't like researching anymore, you know? So yeah, life is very easy, honestly.
That's why you see that people on social media, they rush around with all sorts of narratives. They don't bother to
Mm-hmm.
check, oh, is it true? Is it false? Is it
Lack of
this?
critical thinking.
And you will think that in a day and age where it's easier to get the information, that it will be the opposite. It's not the opposite.
It's not. We are bombarded with false information.
Uh, what a wonderful world. Oh, slow and steady, we're winning the race.
Yes, so
This is Lagos Talks, and you're listening to Smooth 98.1. The Smooth Breakfast is the show. Ayokunmi is my name. Welcome along to the journey. If you're just tuning in, we have been having a conversation this morning around mentorship and, of course, community impact. And we're exploring how positive role models shape the next generation. I've been having a conversation with my very special guest, Othman Abdulrasheed, this morning. It's been quite an interesting one, as it always is whenever I have him on the show. And it is going to continue on that trajectory for at least the next 20 minutes or thereabouts. If you want to join us on the discussion, please, you are most welcome. Send your messages in to us on WhatsApp on 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 0981. You can also join us on YouTube. We're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. You can drop a comment there. And if you want to just talk to us in the studio, share your own stories of, a mentor who has made a serious impact in your life, or if you are mentoring a couple of people and looking at them thrive and become absolutely great individuals in the world. I know it's all about International Men's Day today, but we also have amazing, awesome women who have mentored great people as well. So we'd love to hear from the men and the women as well. Uh, Let me see this message here on WhatsApp. This is from Dakbo from Ibadan. Dakbo, you tend to be in lots of places. You are a man about town. Dakbo says, today we live in a world where everything has gone upside down and zigzaggy. And it's pretty difficult to differentiate truth from correct from errors. So emulating the right kind of mentorship really entails sharp discernment from the prospective proteges. The most important thing to first adapt is the fact that because the world approves of something doesn't mean that it's biblically sound or morally allowed. True story. Discipleship should always be adhered to while identifying correct examples, like in the case of Elijah and Elisha. Gehazi missed the reception of a good legacy due to greed and materialism. Paul handed down tangible virtue to Timothy. And when we look at someone like Judas Iscariot, his stomach and jealousy got the better of him. Most youth these days, with their exuberance, candidly feel that everything is available on the internet and that they don't need or require elderly advice from experienced entities. All right. Thank you very much for sharing those thoughts that well, I'm still going to take your theology class at some point, but we shall see how that works out. But Uthman, I mean, Dakwa made some very important points there,
Yeah.
and the last couple of lines where he said that a number of youth tend to look at the world we live in these days. I mean, we're talking about how things are readily available on the internet, touch of a button, and there's this feeling of, hey, we have everything we need. We don't need
I don't need.
the experience of those who have walked this path before. What would you say to that?
So I would say that the onus is on the people that have walked the path to document the path. So
Mm,
it's on the internet, right? I've seen a lot of people that are amazing, but they are shy. They don't like to share their story. So when these people go to search on the internet, whose story will they see? They'll
mm,
see the story that is available. So if you are doing amazing things and you're not sharing your story, when these people come to search, and I always say that mentorship doesn't have to be one-on-one.
okay,
There are
okay.
people, yeah, because you can be mentored from a book. I said, how did I learn how to be more vulnerable? It's from Brené Brown's book, Daring Greatly. I've never met Brené Brown before, but her book mentored me to be more vulnerable, right?
Interesting.
When I was thinking about, making the switch in my careers, there was a book that I used to listen to. I think I've listened to that book more than 50 times. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, right? And he talked about, how somebody went on a journey and he had a dream. He kept having a dream that he had gold in the pyramid. At the end of the day, when he got to the pyramid, armed robbers attacked him and beat him. And they were like,
Ah,
what are you even doing in the pyramid? And for him to get to the pyramid, he spent almost 4 years. Like it was a disaster.
wow.
Yeah, he didn't read that book. Then when he got there, the armed robbers now beat him. They now said, what are you doing here? He now said, but I came because I always had a dream. He now said, the one of the armed robbers said, oh, you dream. Me too, that's how I still have dream. I had a dream that I needed to go to Andalusia under the sycamore. There's gold there. And then the boy smiled and realized that because he's from Andalusia. He left Andalusia to Egypt to the pyramids.
Mm,
So he's meeting those people there was to revert him back to Andalusia where the real gold was. But he needed to go through that journey
to
to
understand.
be to become a different person so that he can go back and get the gold. So even when I was doing that, I now realized that it's not about the destination, right? It's about the journey and the person you become as you go along. So people that have done successful things, it's incumbent on them to join platforms like this and have these conversations, to share their own story, so that when people are searching, they can easily come across the success. And if you look at it, especially in the Nigerian context, most of our rich people, are successful people, don't share their stories. We don't know how they started.
Everything is
We
coded.
don't know. It's coded. And it's because somehow, there's, too pure like that. There's always a case where you're hustling, but then something happens and then you scale exponentially that you don't
Mm,
want to talk about, right?
right,
But
right.
still, it's important that we talk about that. It's important that we share. Somebody that I really like, how he lives his life, Tony Elumelu, he shares family time. And so we see that, despite him being rich and successful, he spends time with his family. He shares his fitness, you know, despite being rich and successful, he still has time for fitness. Those kind of things. Now he might not have shared his entire story, how he started, but at least he's sharing his current life. But I will also call on people that look, guys, share your stories. I mean, I read the book Steve Jobs, the biography for Steve Jobs, and it was mind blowing. It went back in time and shared everything. The same thing with this other book, Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, the story about Nike, the owner of Nike. He wrote a
Mm,
book. He's still alive, but he wrote his story. And I kid you not, one of the things so I journal now, I've been journaling for almost 4 to 5 years now, daily. One of the things that made me to become more consistent in my journaling was when I read the book Shoe Dog, because he was talking about things that happened in the 60s. And I was like, I remember this clearly happening in 62, but my journal is saying it happened in 63, and all the documents happened in 63, but my memory is telling me 62. What that made me realize is that, okay, so this guy was documenting. At that time, he wasn't great yet. At that time, Nike hadn't blown into the $1 trillion company that it is now, but he was documenting. So some of us, as we go, even if you are successful or not, just keep documenting how your life is. And then maybe one day in the future, you can share it with exact dates, times, things you did, what you didn't do, and all that. Because then somebody coming behind you will take on from where you are and then continue growing as well.
At least one person, because I mean, if that is the eventual case where these stories are put out there and everything is documented like that, is there a guarantee that it will touch everyone who's supposed to touch? I mean, would it be considered a success if at least one person is touched by that particular story?
See, just one person. Usually, when I give talks, I always say that I only want to inspire one person. I don't need to inspire 100, just one person. If one person's life can change as a result of meeting me, then I'm good. So if each mentor, everybody starts to think like that, I just want to change one person's life. I just want to change one person's life. You'll see that people's lives will change. And I'll give you an example. I was talking to a friend Dave yesterday, and I was telling him, we're talking about golf, and he was like, he wants to start playing golf. And he realized that everybody that he has met that plays golf tells him, come and join us. I will even buy you a kit for free. He was like, he doesn't know. Is it a thing? I was like, yeah, because I remember when I started playing golf, I was gifted a kit for free. A friend of mine was starting to play golf. My cousin was starting to play golf. I gifted him a kit. So it becomes, because you were gifted, you want to gift somebody. So he too, if he meets somebody that is interested, he'll
You'll then
gift that
gift
person as well.
gift that person,
So
kind
it
of like
makes,
becoming
because
a tradition of
a
sorts.
tradition. Because one of the key things that stops people from playing golf is kit. That's the most expensive thing for you to be able to buy a full kit. And this kit that you're giving away, it doesn't have to be brand new. It can be secondhand. But what I'm saying is that when we start that tradition, right, people start to take it on. So I think that is important for us to share our stories so that people can also learn from it as well.
All right. Final break on Lagos Talks this morning. And of course, we'll be preparing to wrap up the conversation and bring this plane to a land. Smooth 98.1, the Smooth Breakfast. We'll be back in a bit. I mean, they hold you as you never shop this food finish.
I swear. And my tea don't even cold, but it's all good.
You're a big man. You do another cup. No be all those high level Arabian tea you drink. But
I hear.
They want me.
Amen. Amen.
So if I go to maybe Egypt or Saudi or something right now, I go back to you.
I'm telling you.
I'll pack to you.
And funny enough, when I was coming back, I only bought a pack, and it was for my sister. She specifically asked me that I should bring the pack for her. And when I came, I just bought the pack and I gave her. When I got in, and I asked myself, like, come, this guy, you be mumu. Why you no buy for yourself?
because those areas, their teas, their coffees, really
top
nice.
notch. And especially Egypt, because things are cheaper.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Nutella in Nigeria that they sell 8K, that small pack, because I love Nutella. In Egypt, it's like 3K.
Customs, shipping. Yes, no. That was you, yeah.
Yeah.
Niger. God save us. Okay, we're almost at the finish line. We thank God.
So.
This is where great conversations are had. Smooth 98.1, your love music, love life, and love conversation station as well. Ayokunmi here on a Tuesday morning. The Smooth Breakfast has been in full gear. Having conversation with Othman Abdulrasheed this morning, taking a look at mentorship and community impact as well, and how positive role models shape the next generation. It's all about International Men's Day. So if I haven't told you, happy International Men's Day to all the great men out there doing absolutely wonderful things, and the ones who are transitioning into manhood as well. Hey, y'all are the real MVPs. Anyways, you can still send your messages and get those thoughts into us on this talking about mentorship. Are you mentoring someone right now? Did someone mentor you and support you to where you are today? And are you paying it forward? We'd love to know. So you can send those thoughts into us on WhatsApp on 0809 444 0981 0809 444 0981. You can also sneak a call in on 0201 4489981 0201 4489981. Okay, Uthman, let's talk about the community here and benefits that mentorship would actually have. So we need to zoom out and take a look at the much bigger picture when we talk
Yeah.
about mentorship. It's not just about individuals who will benefit, it's about entire communities as well. I mean, if you look at areas where, there are strong mentorship programs, and it's been seen that these areas tend to have, should I say, more development, high levels of youth engagement as well. It's a ripple effect, really. One mentor can inspire dozens, as you said, and in turn, who can then inspire others. It's a chain of good
Yeah.
events, as it were. Now, in your opinion, how exactly can we scale this? I mean, what needs to change for mentorship to become a larger part of our culture? It happens, but it doesn't feel like it's a norm like that.
I think we need to make it part of our culture. So I'll give you an example. You see, like this Igbo apprenticeship model, that's
Right.
mentorship at the highest order, right? And it's their culture. It has become a cultural thing that you go, you do one boy for somebody, and after a while, the person sets you up, and So what we need to do is we need to now look at it. So that's for business side. But in different places, we need to start to think about how do we create platforms that can connect mentors with mentees. From schools, for
Okay.
example. So in primary schools, we need to bring ex-students to connect them to current primary. So somebody that's already in secondary school that has written JSS, he needs to come back to his primary school, have conversation with the primary school student. Those ones that are finished secondary school, there has to be like an alumni network. For example,
Mm,
Nigerian military school, we have a huge ex-boys alumni, right? Where all the people that went to Nigerian military school, we come together and at least once a year during our foundation day, we go back, we give speeches, we talk about where we are, what we're doing, and how these young people can learn as well. So that's one in terms of school. Another place that we can also do mentorship is religious institutions. Let us
okay.
inculcate it in our religious institutions. So whether it's in the mosques or in the churches, there should be some sort of like a mentorship program that people that usually go to a particular mosque, right, can then have interaction with the younger people. Let's create a time and a place. If you look at it, even I mean, if you look at the story of the Prophet, ﷺ, that's kind of what happened. They did mentorship in the mosque where people come in and the younger ones get to learn, and he even inspires them. It's the same thing in the church as well. We can do that as well. And then also we can now start thinking about organizations, local organizations, NGOs. Let's partner with them. There are a lot of these days, you see a lot of NGOs focused on women development,
Mm,
right? And that's what they're doing. What are they doing? They're calling on women that have been successful to come and share their stories with women that are just starting out, either in business or in fashion or whatever. So anybody that has been successful in his own right should avail themselves to these kind of platforms so that they can share. And the thing is that it doesn't have to be physical.
right.
Technology has made it
As you
easy,
mentioned.
right? Yeah,
Mm,
technology has made it easy. We can do a podcast. You can jump on a Zoom call. You can write a book. Even if you don't want to write a book, okay, fine. Like now, this show, for example, right? People should avail themselves to these things. Yes, we're all busy. Yes, but sacrifices have to be made. To make sacrifices so that we can impart the next generation. So I think that
mm.
that's one of the things. If we do that, then we can scale our mentorship.
All right, fantastic. Okay, now what about policy? Talking about government, or corporate bodies. What more can they actually do to support these initiatives, to support mentorship programs, to make them should I say, more attractive and more mainstream as well?
So for corporate organizations, one of the things that they do, and there are a lot of companies that do that, is to create a mentorship program where, first of all, they train top level managers on how they can coach and mentor younger ones, and then now veil those now institutionalize it, whereby a young person is attached to a mentor, and that mentor has to see to the growth of that person. I'll give you an example. There's a in Owando, for example, right? It wasn't. It's not like it was open. Like it wasn't like it was clear to say you must mentor people, but subliminally, because the leaders then had mentees and they helped their mentees. What then happened was that those mentees also mentored others, and then those ones also mentored others. That
Mm,
interestingly, there was a point where all the downstream oil and gas companies, at a point in time, all their top leaders were product of Rwanda,
mm.
which just shows how the company was able to create that excellence in terms of mentoring people, right? So I
It
think
kind of
that that's one
became
thing.
it kind of became like an organic unspoken rule that
Rule,
happened there.
yes. Yes, that happened. Like you didn't come out to say, look, I'm mentoring you, but just because you saw the leaders doing it, it's the same thing even with government. So yes, we can put in policy where we say, okay, look, in civil service, for example, all grades, so people must have mentees that are in lower grade. But more importantly than even writing policy, because in Nigeria, we're good with writing policy, but sometimes we're not good with executing it.
Right, right.
More importantly than writing the policy is to actually do it. Let's see, let's show, and let it not be that you're mentoring somebody based on reasons that are not outside the person's capacity. So we don't want a situation whereby ethnicity comes into play, religion comes into play, you know, and all those things, right? So let it be based on the person's performance. Then one person picks that person up and mentors him. And it does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen now. It happens. But I think that we just need to make it more mainstream.
All right, man. Thank you for sharing that incredible insight with man. I mean, I cannot end this conversation without asking you this now. For a lot of people out there, who are probably listening to us right now, who feel inspired or who have had thoughts about this beforehand, and we're just, should I say, speaking to them as if, okay, this is probably that sign that I actually need. What would your message be to any man out there right now, or anyone in general? I know it's International Men's Day, but mentorship cuts across board. What message would you have for anyone who is listening to us right now, who is inspired but unsure about where to start in becoming a mentor?
Start where you are. Start with what you have. You have, if you're a family person, you have your children. Mentor your children. Be a good role model for your children. Because children will not do what you tell them to do. They do what they see you do. I remember I went to my kids' school, and one of the things the teacher said was, "Sir, do you exercise with your children?" I was like, "Oh yeah, a lot." They were like, "Haha," because there's some when they go out for outdoor work and exercise, right? There are
Mm.
things that my children do that they know that look, it's not us that taught them because even we don't know how to do it. And there was even a video where my son was leading the workout for the fellow
Oh,
4 year old.
nice.
And it's
Nice.
because I do it with them. I say, okay, let's do this. Then I say, okay, you lead me and all that, right? So that's one. Start with your children. You don't have children, start with your neighbors. You have neighbors around you. You have children that live in your area. Call them, find out. It starts with caring, care about them, right? Once you care about them, then you can now start to shape their thoughts, shape, the direction of where they're heading to. And then where you work, mentor people where you work. And also, it's not just where you work, even socially, when you meet people socially, try to bring them up. Just have that idea that anywhere you go, you don't want to leave people feeling the same way. You want to inspire them, you want to support them, you want to help them. I think that's what we do. So you just start where you are, start with what you have.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Uthman, so much for an insightful conversation. I mean, if there's one takeaway from today, it's that mentorship is a two-way street. It changes lives on both ends.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And to everyone listening out there, to you out there right now, let's carry this conversation forward. Think about the young people in your life. Are you showing up for them in a way that counts? A very, very big question to ask. Once again, thank you so much, Othman, for joining us this morning. Othman Abdulrasheed has been my guest. For those who would love to talk to you, I'm probably, hey, Othman, will you be my mentor? Where can they find you on social media to connect with you?
Yeah, so they can find me on I'm very active on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at I am the Othman, IAMTHEOTHMAN. And one thing I always tell people is that and if you come and meet me that please can I be your mentor? Think carefully first because yeah, because I don't do like first of all, I'll first give you like assignment to go and read 3 books. That's how I weed out the serious ones from the non-serious ones. I'll give you 3 books, go and read it. When you're done reading, come back. 90% of people don't come back. A lot of times when people come and meet me and they say they want mentorship, what they want is just they want to farms so that they can take selfie and all those kind of things, right? When you give them real work, they run away. But I've found a few people that have done the work and have come back and I've really accepted them as my mentees and I've helped to push them and propel them. So yeah, you can reach out to me and if you're willing to do the work, yeah, of course we can see how it goes.
Absolutely fantastic. Once again, thank you so much for taking out the time to join me this morning, as you always do.
Thank you.
I don't take it for granted. Much, much obliged. Much obliged.
Thank you very much.
All right. Have a great Tuesday, Othman. Of course, a great rest
All
of
right.
the week. And thank you all for
You too.
sharing your time with us this morning on Lagos Talks. Absolute pleasure. Keep it tuned to Smooth 98.1 because the Smooth Breakfast definitely will continue. There's more great music lined up for you on a terrific Tuesday morning.